Doctors as a profession is one of the top 3 highest earning professions you can possibly pursue. But I'm here to tell you, doctors as a profession is one of the most illiquid career paths anyone can face. Now, what exactly does that mean? Not having a freedom fund, but investing is like building a house with no foundation. I mean, it's a beautiful home. It has a nice garage. It has beautiful windows. It has everything amazing. But with the first storm that comes, it blows the entire house away.
Welcome back to Generational Dr. Wealth, a personal finance show for doctors. This podcast is for educational entertainment purposes only and does not constitute financial, legal, or tax advice. Always consult your own professionals.
Hello. Welcome back to the Generational Dr. Wealth Show, a personal finance show for doctors. Today, we're going to be touching on step number 2 of the doctor's blueprint to financial freedom, and that is start your freedom fund. I love this episode so much because, believe it or not, your freedom fund is what gives you the ability to say no. To say no to the late night hours that you no longer want to do. To say no to working weekends if that no longer serves your life best. This gives you the ability to say no to what no longer fits your life or the future life that you envision for yourself. And conversely, it also gives you the ability to say yes. Yes to taking an extra week or 2 weeks for vacation and not just a week. Saying yes to taking a 2-hour lunch versus a 1-hour lunch because you want time to be able to relax and unwind. This gives you the ability to say yes or to say no to what no longer fits your previous life, and to say yes or to say no to what you envision your future life being. So let's hop into it. So now let's start from just a conceptual point of view. I'm here to tell you something, right? Most doctors are not bad with finances. Most doctors are just unprepared. What exactly does that look like? That means that doctors make a really nice income compared to the rest of America. Believe it or not, the average doctor, regardless of what type of doctor, medical doctor, pharmacist, dentist, you're making at least 2 times more than the average American. That means you are in a really solid place when it comes to income. So that makes us have to think to ourselves, okay, we don't have an income problem, we have a preparedness problem. And by starting this freedom fund, you have now taken this first and the second step to making sure you have the resources in place to be able to put yourself on a solid financial footing. So think to yourself, if something happens into your life, what exactly are you going to do to solve it? If a financial emergency pops up today, how exactly would you pay for it? Would you go into an account that you already have ready for these exact scenarios, or would you use your credit card? Based on how you answer that will tell you, do you have your freedom fund in place? Let's get to actual definitions. How much is a freedom fund? How much money do we need saved up to make sure we at least are in a solid foundation so if something pops up, we're going to be prepared? I'm here to tell you, there is no exact dollar amount that would solve everybody's issues. There is no exact freedom fund that will solve all your issues. But a nice place to start is 1 month of income. So you usually hear 1 month of expenses. And the reason I don't like 1 month of expenses is because if I ask 10 doctors, how much did you spend last month? I guarantee you at least 9 of them will have no clue. Now, if I ask you, how much did you make last month? 9 out of 10 of the doctors are going to be able to tell me within a 10% variance exactly how much they made last month. That's why I like to go 1 month of income, because that's a number that feels personal. It's a number that you feel in control of. It's a number, honestly, that you're proud of, I hope. And if not, we're going to talk about how using your freedom fund can free you up to now be able to pursue the kind of heights within your career to make sure you are proud of that number. Let's get into it. So let's hop into the importance of starting your freedom fund, because understand, your starter freedom fund is what stops a bad day from becoming a bad decision. Meaning, let's think about it. By you quitting too early from your job could literally affect your entire life. But when you have that starter freedom fund in place, maybe you take just a day off just to clear your head. Bad insurance. Think about it. Sometimes we just get whatever kind of insurance we can afford. But if we have a starter freedom fund in place, that gives us the freedom and clarity to be able to choose the best insurance company, not just the cheapest insurance company. Think about ownership. For sometimes Doctors rush into ownership because we need to start making more income. But when you have that starter freedom fund in place, it actually gives you the ability to take a step back and make sure, is ownership actually what I want? See, this starter freedom fund is not supposed to solve all life's issues. But what it is supposed to do is give you a second to pause, a second to think to yourself, what exactly do I need out of this role? What do I need out of this career to feel fulfilled? If you're in a toxic work environment, this freedom fund gives you the ability to at least take a step back and figure out, should I stay or should I go? See, when we don't have income saved up and put into a safe place, we no longer have the ability to be able to say no with a clarity of mind. See, sometimes we might say no anyways, but do we have the same type of clarity? Do we have the same amount of options that we would have had? And that's the point of this. So now let's get into the numbers to figure out how exactly do we save and start our freedom fund. So we've already said that your freedom fund starter is 1 month of income. So let's say you're working in the real world now. You need to first figure out how much are you actually spending, how much are you actually making. And I'm going to be honest with you. Figuring out how much you're making is a lot more fun than figuring out how much you're spending. If you have the ability, the best place to start is just put away 1/3 of your income for 3 months. That's the easiest way, simplest way. So if you make $10,000 a month, you're going to take about $3,333 and you're going to put it into a high yield savings account. And you're not going to touch it. You're not going to look at it. Okay. And you're going to repeat that action for the next 3 months. And then you're going to look up and you're going to have $10,000 sitting there earmarked as your starter freedom fund. Same thing works if you want to do in 2 months. Then if you make $10,000, then you're going to take $5,000 a month and you're going to put it into the account, your high yield savings account or your money market account. You're not going to look at it. And you're going to do that for the next 2 months. You're going to look up and you're going to have that $10,000 sitting there staring at you, telling you it's ready to protect you.
If you've been listening to the show, you probably heard us talk about the Doctor's Blueprint, the 9-step framework that helps doctors go from 6-figure debt to financial freedom. But a lot of listeners have asked the same question. How do I apply this to my own situation? That's exactly why we created the Dr. Wealth Blueprint Plan. It's a personalized financial roadmap designed specifically for doctors. We walk through your entire financial picture, your debt, insurance coverage, saving strategies, investment plan, and long-term goals. And then turn it into a clear step-by-step plan based on the doctor's blueprint. If you're interested, just text the word blueprint to 704-336-9313, and we'll send you the details and application. Again, that's blueprint to 704-336-9313 to learn more about the Dr. Wealth Blueprint Plan.
So the longest I would advise taking to put away your starter freedom fund is 3 months. So you got to kind of think about it. If my lifestyle is taking up more than 2/3 of my income, we already have a problem. We need to take a step back and figure out what exactly is going on with my finances. Because if you're able to save 1/3 of your income for 3 months, you have your freedom fund. See, some people ask me sometimes, hey, can I just take 6 months to do it? Because we have a lot of other things going on. I would not advise that. I want to make this a priority because believe it or not, you never know when an emergency is going to come up. So yes, you can take 6 months, you can take 12 months to do it. But how about if something happens in 2 months or 3 months? You're not prepared. You are not ready. But by making this a top priority after number 1, making sure you have all your insurances in place. And now step number 2, you are going at a fast pace to make sure you have your freedom fund in place. Because when you have that, that opens up doors. Listen, I'm here to tell you, doctors as a profession is one of the top 3 highest earning professions you can possibly pursue. But I'm here to tell you, doctors as a profession is one of the most illiquid career paths anyone can face. Now, what exactly does that mean? That means we have a very high income set, but we don't have a lot of cash. When it comes to doctors, a lot of us end up spending a lot towards our lifestyle. And number 1, most expensive thing that any of us will spend in our lifetimes are taxes. Doctors, especially W-2, are taxed at the highest rates. So on paper, someone's telling you, you make $300,000 a year, and you're looking at your bank account and you don't even have $30,000 saved up. And it feels like, what exactly is going on in my finances? I'm here to tell you, you are not alone. That is the financial trap that unfortunately a lot of us doctors find ourselves in. On paper, we're told that we make a very high income, but in our bank accounts, we have a low amount of cash. By saving your starter freedom fund, you flip the script. You make sure you have that cash sitting in your account ready to deploy in case anything ever comes up. We need to bring back what we call margin into our life. So margin is the difference between how much you make and how much you spend. And the bigger the gap is between how much you make and how much you spend, that difference in between, that margin, that is what you use to build wealth. So as I said before, the reason I don't want you taking more than 3 months to put away your starter freedom fund is because I need you to be trained to already understand that I need to create more margin in my life. Because the more margin I have means the more gasoline I have to put into my economic vehicle. So you got to kind of think about your finances as really a vehicle. What kind of car are you going to drive to get to the destination called financial freedom that you're trying to get to? Now, if you're not having the proper gasoline because you're spending so much of your cash, you don't really have fuel to get to your destination, that's an issue. See, the thing is, when you're first going up that hill of building up finances, which means you're getting insurance for the first time, you're putting your first down payment down on your house or your car, anything like that, earlier on, you incur a lot of expenses. So this is the most vital time to create margin in your personal life. See, for a lot of us, when we graduate or finish residency, the first thing we do is go out and go spend. We go buy a brand new car or go buy a brand new house or go on a nice long vacation. Believe it or not, in the earlier days of your finances are when your dollars actually matter the most. Because for a lot of us, that's when you're going to have less. So when you actually have less, you want to make sure you're using your gasoline, like we said, and you're fueling your economic vehicle with the most pristine gas as possible. So you want to create as much margin. See, right now, you're going to have as little financial resources as you're ever going to have. I speak that into your life. So right now is probably the most important time for you to take your finances seriously. This is the time you want to get your income as high as possible and get your expenses as low as possible. But before you can do that, you have to have a good understanding of where exactly do you find yourself. And that's the entire point of the Doctor's Blueprint to Financial Freedom. It's a 9-step process to figure out where exactly am I? Do I need to shore up my insurances or do I need to get my freedom fund in place? And again, for you out there, you probably already have your freedom fund, but is it put into the right place? Have you already emotionally surrendered those dollars that they are in my emergency fund and I will not touch them? That is in my emergency/freedom fund. And while it's in that place, that is no longer spendable because technically I've already spent that money on peace of mind. Because listen, I know a lot of us like to think that peace of mind comes free. But when you put that money into your account, indirectly, you are purchasing just a little bit of peace of mind when it comes to your finances. Now, can that freedom fund stop a meteorite from hitting your home or anything like COVID happening? Absolutely not. But can it help mitigate the outcomes after those events happen? If you have that starter freedom fund in place and COVID happens, guess what? You have some breathing room. If a meteorite hits your house and you have your freedom fund in place, guess what? You probably just reached your deductible and now you're going to get a whole brand new house. Again, even in the wildest scenarios, this freedom fund gives you the ability to have breathing room, to be able to take time and make the best and clearest decision when the unfortunate happens. See, I don't want this to overwhelm you. We're not asking you to save 1 year's worth of income yet. We're asking you to save 1 month's of income. And now, if 1 month is even too much, how do you get to just half of a month? Whatever it is, the thing about financial progress is some progress is better than no progress. See, this isn't a zero-sum game. You doing something is better than you doing nothing. Just get started. Now, let's get into the 2 main reasons why saving that freedom fund is so difficult. Number 1, most people feel like they do not make enough money. And for some out there, that is true. Maybe you're undervalued compared to your peers in your particular field. Or maybe you're in an area or working a job that does not bring you the economic security that you hope for. But like I said, us as doctors, we already make at least 2 times, and for some people, 10 times more than the average American. The average American makes about $50,000 to $60,000 a year. The average doctor is making clearly north of $150,000 a year. So is it really an income problem? Now, for some of us, it might be. Because for some of us, we've already signed up for a life, or we have the kind of responsibilities that stretch our income so far, it doesn't even seem feasible. For instance, student loans. If your student loan payments are already eating up about 10 to 20% of your income, taxes are already eating another 30% of your income, it might not even be your fault. We might have to really restructure where our finances are going towards to make sure we actually have an ability to make this thing happen. You might be in a situation where you're actually doing everything you possibly can. See, that might be when you want to sit down and come up with a financial plan to figure out, where are my dollars going? If I have too much going out to student loans, maybe this is part of my life. I need to slow down in my aggressive paying on my student loans. And now think to myself, where can my dollars go a little bit further? Do I need to go back to my lender and ask for a different kind of payment plan instead of doing a 10-year, stretch it out for 15 years so I can take that difference, that margin, and actually use it towards getting this fund in place? This one, you want to start asking those questions. And the second top reason why it's so difficult to save a starter fund is because most people do not give their money assignments. You don't tell your money what to do. For some of us out there, our money tells us what to do. Instead, you need to tell your dollars where exactly you go. Hey, this dollar, you're going towards paying insurance. This dollar, you're going towards investment. This dollar, you're going towards building my freedom fund. If not, what happens is, if you don't tell your money where to go, your money goes where it wants to. And for a lot of us, that's anywhere instead of where we want it to go. So you have to be purposeful and intent and figure out where exactly it goes. And that's why budgeting works for so many people. Because by you putting it down on a budget where your money is supposed to go, it takes out the variety from the money to trying to figure out where it should go. And that's why starting that freedom fund makes you become more conscious of where your funds are already going.
Hello, I'm Jonathan with Team Financials, and here at Team Financials, we make filing simple, accurate, and stress-free. Tax season does not have to be stressful, and we are here to make it as simple and stress-free as possible for you. Whether you need help with your personal tax return or your business owner looking for expert tax preparation, our experienced team is here to guide you every step of the way. We don't just file your taxes. Our slogan here at Team Financials is we educate so you can elevate, because when you understand your finances, you make stronger, smarter moves for your future. If you mention Dr. Wealth with filing with us, you will receive $75 off your personal and business tax preparations. Ready to get started? Please reach out to us at 704-412-4242 or book directly on our website at teamfinancials.com. Take care. Have a good rest of the day. Bye.
Now, let's speak from the perspective that you have started your freedom fund and you have it in place. You have your 1 year's worth of income. Let's talk about where it should be and what not to do with it. So, as I briefly touched on, you don't want to just keep this money anywhere that's easily accessible. You want to put this in an account that either you're not logged into or you don't necessarily treat it transactionally. You want to put it into a high yield savings account, a money market account, somewhere that takes a few clicks for you to get the funds. All right. Not necessarily a few days, but a few clicks. You need to be able to get it quickly, but you don't want to be able to see it quickly, if that makes sense. Now, once you have those funds in that account, you put it there, you store the login, and you stop looking at it. Because what happens is when an emergency doesn't happen for a certain amount of time, for instance, let's say you graduated and 2-3 years pass by after you've already gotten your freedom fund in place. You might think to yourself, you know what, I want to go on a vacation. I know I have this $10,000 sitting in this account. Maybe we should use this to go splurge a little bit. And then you forget the fact that that $10,000 is purchasing you the peace of mind that you've been enjoying over the last few years. See, that's why it's important for you to earmark your account. See, one thing my brother does, who's a CPA, he does a great job of labeling accounts. He'll put on there, this was an operational account, this was an expense account. I want you to do the same thing. I want you to take your freedom fund. You can easily go into the settings or whatever your bank is. I want you to label it freedom fund. Do not spend. Because when you consistently tell yourself this money is not to be spent, it's meant to be ready to be deployed in case anything happens, You have subconsciously programmed yourself that this is not spendable money. This, in fact, is money, but it's not spendable. See, some people, if they see the money, they're going to spend the money. You need to learn yourself. See, the point of this episode is for you to get a little more understanding of how do you view your money? Is it, if I have it, I spend it? Or if you're like in my shoes, I have it and I don't spend it. See, the point of these steps is for you to free yourself to spend with a clarity of mind. By you knocking out the different steps along this blueprint, you have actually freed yourself to spend more freely. And that's one of the reasons why I came up with the blueprint. Because one thing I always did was I oversaved. I oversaved and I would invest. But I never really got to the point of actually spending and enjoying all the work that we put in. A rabbi once told me a proverb that said, "Eat and drink and enjoy the fruits of your labor, for these are gifts from above." I want to eat and drink and enjoy the gifts and the fruits of all the labor that's been put in. But the only way I can personally do that is if I know I have all the right sources of income in the right buckets. So again, you need to figure out, are you a spender where, hey, if I have it, I'm going to spend it. I need to put it somewhere separate so I know I don't spend it. Or if you're like me, are you too far on the scope of saving? Because saving too much can actually be a bad thing. Do you need to free yourself mentally to be able to spend? This freedom fund is what allows you to be able to have that clarity of mind when you spend or when you save, to make sure it does not take you out of financial position. Next, let's touch on why are we not investing now? So I received so many questions asking, hey, should I start investing? I got my first paycheck. Should I start investing? I'm here to tell you that freedom fund, having that in place is what frees you to invest. Not having a freedom fund, but investing is like building a house with no foundation. I mean, it's a beautiful home. It has a nice garage. It has beautiful windows. It has everything amazing. But with the first storm that comes, it blows the entire house away. Investing is important, absolutely. But before we can free ourselves to do that investing, we need to have this freedom fund in place. You need to have that break glass money ready to go if something ever happens. See, the thing about investments are they go up and they go down. That's investing. The more risk usually equals the more reward. Now, some people take a little bit too much risk with not the promise of enough reward. See, the thing about investing is investing works best when you're in a position of power. I always tell people real estate investing is fun when you have cash. When you don't have cash, investing in real estate is a nightmare. See, now I still remember when we purchased a home. It was basically upstairs, downstairs, and we turned into like a split level duplex and we did Airbnb out of it. We lived upstairs and we rented out downstairs on Airbnb, and it was bringing so much cash flow. It was able to pay off the mortgage twice every single month just from the Airbnb. Meaning if the mortgage was $1,000, it was bringing in about $2,000 a month. And we're just using like example numbers. So it was doing really, really good for the first 9 months. And on one fateful day, we got a knock from the neighbor downstairs. And they told us, hey, the basement is flooding. And when I tell you, by the time we contacted Airbnb to let them know about that scenario, they were trying to put their hands up saying, oh, we don't really know. This is not our responsibility. Even though they said, hey, we have all these different host protections. When things are happening quickly, you have to handle them quickly. If we were relying on Airbnb to reimburse and help with water mitigation when everything bursts, by the time that would have happened, the house would have been basically useless at that point. The house would have been lost so much value just due to the sheer damage. But instead, since we had a freedom fund in place, we were able to get the water mitigators over that same day, get everything pumped out to give Airbnb time to sort out the situation. We were not reliant on anybody else to help get us out of that water type situation. That's the same thing when it comes to any kind of investment. It's always best to invest when you're in a position of power. When you're in a position of strength. And that freedom fund is what gives you that power. It gives you that economic strength to be able to be clear of mind. The same thing applies even in the stock market. I still remember investing back when COVID first happened. I didn't really know what was going on, but I just remember all the stocks plummeting like 20 to 40% like this. And back then, I was so grateful that we had a freedom fund set in place. Because when there was market volatility, we didn't have to do a forced sale, meaning like to be able to pay your bills, you have all your money into the stock market. and you have to actually sell off assets within your stock market portfolio to be able to make expenses. We didn't have to do that. We actually took funds away from our freedom fund and put it into stocks that were sold down at the time. See, that's the thing. When you have your freedom fund in place, it actually gives you the opportunity to be able to take advantage of stocks when they go on sale. When things start to happen around you, this freedom fund is what actually gives you the ability to put yourself in a position of power, because when economic turmoil happens, it's usually when the most millionaires are made. So you don't want to be in a position where you don't have any options, where you're locked out. See, I have friends that invest everything into the stock market, and I tell them, listen, that is a dangerous game to play, because anything ever shifts, you're going to have to realize tax gains or take losses to get that cash quickly. You do not want to be in that scenario. So let's summarize what we discussed today. Doctors are high income, but low liquidity. And liquidity is simply your ability to convert something into cash quickly. So how do we rectify the fact that we are not very cash heavy? We rectify that by keeping some cash to the side, by starting and eventually building our freedom fund. By building and having that freedom fund, it gives us the ability to have a little bit more peace of mind by, in essence, buying peace of mind. See, the thing about it is you're one emergency away from your entire financial life collapsing. By you not having the proper insurance, by you not having the ability to make the deductible on your insurance, see, by in step one, having the proper insurances in place, and by step number two, making sure you have the proper cash to rectify situations quickly and effectively, you have now done 2 out of the 3 steps necessary to solidify your financial foundation. And now, on the next step, we're going to talk about what do we need to do to make sure we're not actually losing our money faster than we can actually build it up. Because before we can even think about investing, we need to make sure that our foundation is tight, that it is solid, that we can build on, put the framework right on top of it, and build a strong financial house that we can be proud of. That we can look back at the end of our career and say, you know what, those late nights, those long days were worth it, because now I can retire with dignity. I can travel. I can do what I want to when I want to. It took a little bit of sacrifice on the front end so I can create a little extra margin, that we use that margin as gasoline in the economic vehicle to take us to the financial dreams that we have in store for ourselves. And that's why, again, we're going to continue to go through the 9-step doctor's blueprint, because by doing it in this order, you are ensuring that you are in a solid financial footing. And as we continue to go out through this entire season, we're going to make sure you're ready for whatever comes your way. This is Generational Dr. Wealth. Can't wait to see you next time. Peace.
This show is for educational and entertainment purposes only and is not intended to be financial, legal, or medical advice. We are not acting as your personal financial advisors. The strategies discussed are general in nature and may not be appropriate for your individual situations. You should always consult your own qualified financial, tax, and legal professionals before making decisions about your money. The host and guests are not responsible for any actions you take based on the information shared on this show.